Are you tired of living in the same area you live? Sick of seeing the same neighbors with the same route to work and wondering if you need a fresh start? Which reminds me, they haven't fixed those huge potholes in the street in front of my house. Oh well. What is up, people? And in this video, I will give you 5 pros and cons of Boulder, Colorado. And of course, saving the best and worst ones for last. Having researched all across the internet and spoken to residents from Boulder, I have found that this city can be a very good place to relocate to. But like any other city, it has its defects and is not for everyone. So by the end of the video, you decide if Boulder is really for you. Let's get into it. Number 10. The landscape. Over the years, the city of Boulder has been slowly growing as more people move in. A lot of that attention is thanks to its spectacular landscape. Boulder is a beautiful city and is very visually attractive. Boulder is home to a lot of natural beauties, like Wonderland Lake, which offers a 1.5-mile loop around the lake, as well as a very good view of the Flatirons. There is also Chautauqua Park, a great place for hiking, lots of landscape, and with no fee of charge. But these are just a few of the destinations Boulder has. The city is located right under the Flatirons of the Rocky Mountains, home to many mountains and hiking trails. So, you get the idea. If I had to write this in a math equation, it would probably be Boulder equals beautiful scenery, period. Number 9. Students. It has been known that for some people, having a large amount of students can be just, there isn't really a word for it, I guess, annoying. You know the type. These kids everyone has encountered, even me, the ones that are always playing their loud music, being obnoxious, etc. The reason why a large number of students come to Boulder is because of the many schools in Boulder. Although this isn't bad, a large quantity of people moving, it tends to cause a ruckus, and sometimes the situation can get out of control. Number 8. The community. Boulder has an excellent community with lots of great schools, and according to Great Schools Rating, most of the schools are rated 9 out of 10, with only a few falling at 5 or less. Most of the schools are above the state average in terms of learning. People in Boulder are also friendly, and you can expect your occasional hi and small talk when walking down the sidewalk. The people in Boulder are also known to be really into fitness, so you better hit the gym. Number 7. Diversity. It will only take you about 10 seconds to figure out that Boulder is not a very ethnically diverse place. Most of the people in Boulder, 79% to be exact, are white. So if you are looking to really immerse yourself and surround yourself with all different kinds of people and cultures, Boulder is not your go-to place. Number 6. Weather. The weather here is great. Receiving around 245 days with sun, the coldest it can get here is in the mid-40s and is usually in the high 60s and warmer. The only downside is, well, there is no beach. So I guess having a pool will be a must. But then again, for $2,000, I think I'll stick with my kiddie pool, or even better, the lake. Number 5. Nightlife. For all you late-night partiers, I have bad news. Boulder is not a place with a lot of nightlife. So there are things like bars, but to be honest, everyone, if not most people in Boulder, will have definitely hit the hay before 12. There are also no nightclubs, and yeah, pretty much Boulder sleeps at night. Number 4. The food. Believe it or not, food is kind of a big deal here, with some of the town's favorites being Palisade Peach and Green Chili. Boulder is known for having good food and freshly grown food, and even has some award-winning restaurants. Make sure to stop by one of the many restaurants, especially Frasca Food and Wine Black Belly, among others. I don't know about you, but I like myself good Italian food once in a while. Number 3. Size. Like I said before, Boulder is a city that is growing, and people are starting to feel the impact. The traffic is getting worse. And as more and more cars share the road, that means more and more people moving in. With the already high cost of living, it will slowly begin to be very normal for it to be crowded. The town size is only 20 square miles, so yeah, not exactly your ideal situation. Number 2, jobs. Here in Boulder, there are many jobs, and you won't get enough of them. Unlike my local rundown dollar store, here you can find well-established businesses like Microsoft, Macy's, Zio Group, AT&T, and of course Google. With an average salary of $70,000, you will definitely like Boulder for this reason, especially if you are in the tech industry. Number 1, cost of living. Now a con that I know most of you will not like, and that is the cost of living. If you are considering moving to Boulder, you have to understand it won't come in cheap and is actually one of the most expensive cities in America. Just to get a one-bedroom apartment here costs around $15,000 a month. Yep, that wasn't a typo. And if that wasn't enough, the median list price of homes in Boulder is around $850,000, if not more. It's not just the homes that are expensive, but the overall suburbs inside and outside of Boulder are also becoming very expensive. So just think about it like this. If your wallet heard this as a bedtime story, would it cry or be just fine? Boise, Idaho is amongst one of the fastest growing cities in all of America. Some people would agree Boise is the place to be, while others not so much. Well, I'm not here to argue, but I am here to let you know what all the fuss is about and present to you the top 10 pros and cons about Boise, Idaho. So you yourself can be your own judge. Now let's get to it. Number 10, the outdoors. Boise, Idaho is an excellent place for going outside. The city is surrounded by many mountains to the northeast, the desert to the south, and many streams of rivers. 93,000 miles worth of stream and rivers, to be exact. Thanks to the city's location, you can do a very wide range of outdoor activities like rock climbing, hiking, camping, boating, a simple walking trail, ATVing, off-roading, kayaking, fishing, running, water rafting, zip lining, bird watching, yoga, caving, bungee jumping, jet skiing, sledding, ice skating, and finally skiing. My God, that was a mouthful. Now, surprisingly, I can give you even more examples. I know, shocking. But the main point is Boise is an outdoorsman's paradise. Period. You will enjoy being outside no matter what time of year it is here. Heck, even in the winter months, there are plenty of things to do, as I listed off in the end. Number 9, low wages. Setting the natural beauty aside, if you are really thinking about settling in Boise, Idaho, I got some bad news for you. Idaho has low wages. With a minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, this may not seem like it's all too bad, but what you need to realize is real estate prices in Boise are on the rise. And with many more people moving in, houses and rent will only get more pricey as the wages, at least for a while, will most likely remain as they are. Now, this doesn't mean you can't survive in Boise, because unlike other rapidly growing cities like Boulder, Colorado, Boise is actually pretty affordable for the town it is. Number 8, cost of living. Now, leading off with what I was saying, Boise is surprisingly affordable for what you can get. To start off, income taxes are 3% lower than the national average. Sales tax is 7% lower than the national average, and property taxes are a whopping 26% lower than the national average. Rent here is also not too shabby. If you are looking for a studio apartment, that will come around $1,163. For a one-bedroom, $1,153. For a two-bedroom, $1,346. And getting a bit more high-priced, you'd be looking around $1,606 for a three-bedroom apartment. Now, keep in mind, prices are are always rising, and these are just estimates. Number 7, isolation. One thing that you'll find rather inconvenient in the city of Boise is that it is very remote. Once you arrive in Boise, you're pretty much stuck here. The closest large city to Boise is Salt Lake City, Utah, which is 5 hours away by car. The next one is Portland, Oregon, at about 6 hours. After that, there's Seattle, Washington, at about 7 hours. And, well, you get the idea. You're pretty much isolated from everywhere else. And it's not like you can hop from town to town. This is obviously a con, especially if you are looking to visit someplace else via car, because let's not forget, there's pretty much nothing but small cities surrounding Boise, the desert, and mountains. So you better make sure you really do want to move here, because if not, get ready to hit the road for a while. Number 6, the weather. You know how I mentioned earlier that Boise is an outdoorsman's paradise thanks to its location? I wasn't wrong, but I was leaving out a key piece for which makes it possible to be out, and that is the weather. Boise, Idaho has excellent weather for the most part. Here you get to experience the 4 seasons to the max. Starting off in January, the winter weather will hit you in the mid-30s while getting a few inches of snowfall. That's right, inches, not feet. Believe me, you haven't seen winter once you experience a heavy snowfall in Chicago. At that point, shoveling becomes a workout. Seriously, you look outside and go, oh great, time to pull out the shovel again, and then you sit there contemplating to yourself on why you didn't just purchase that dang snowblower that was on sale. And now you have to manually shovel your sidewalk and driveway, and it's just too cold and yeah, just no fun. So the moral of the story, invest in a good snowblower before it's too late if you're living in Chicago. Anyways, after winter, you have spring, which brings the usual spring showers with temperatures in the mid-50s and 60s. The hottest month being May, with temperatures averaging in the low 70s. After that, summer comes along, and best believe you will reach the 90s with dry air because, don't forget, Boise is built on a desert. And finally, fall. In my opinion, the best season there is. You will get temperatures dropping back to the 60s and 50s, and you get to wear your hoodie, sip on pumpkin coffee, eat your apple cider donuts, visit pumpkin farms, etc. I'm sure you know the vibe I'm talking about. Number 5, public transportation. Boise is a car city. I'm letting you know right now, if you do not have 4 wheels and a running engine, this will be a huge disadvantage for you. I say this because Boise lacks a lot of public transportation, and the little transportation they do have doesn't usually run very well, and most only operate on weekdays. Now the city does have buses and whatnot, but the services are very sparse. And what doesn't help is that services like Uber and Lyft are rarely found here. So most of the traveling will need to be you. A common problem people have here is the shock when they find out about the lack of public transportation because, well, most people come here from bigger cities. But for people who have always lived within Boise, this doesn't really bother them. Number 4, jobs. You'll be glad to hear that there are plenty of well-paying jobs in Boise. Most of the jobs here are in the agricultural field, as Idaho is literally in the heart of one of the greatest agricultural zones in all of America. After all, it would be kind of silly for Boise's economy not to take advantage to create jobs in the agricultural field. And in return, you and I get those delicious French fries, all thanks to those hardworking people. But besides agriculture, there are also a lot of healthcare and administrative field positions here. But best of all is that compared to the national average, Boise, Idaho's unemployment rate is 2.3% lower than the national average. When getting a job in Boise, you can earn between some $60,000 to $64,000 per year, which is not the best, but come on, where else can you get the beautiful outdoor scenery and an all right cost of living? Number 3, the inversion. Yes, we are at that point where we hit the top 3 pros and cons about Boise, Idaho. And let me tell you about the dreadful inversion, and boy, you will not like it. The inversion happens usually in January, where cold air sits in the Treasure Valley, where Boise is located, followed by by a thick fog and the warm air rises to the top. When this happens, it's pretty much a dark and dismal time in terms of weather, and as a result, it will get colder and temperatures will drop significantly. Not just that, but the air quality also seems to worsen to the point where it's hard to see the sun. And if you're asking yourself, how do I escape this? Well, you have two main options. One, go up towards the mountains, or two, book a vacation elsewhere. But the good news is that the inversion gladly doesn't happen every year. When it does, it only sticks around for about a week or two. After a few days, it then starts clearing up and you get those beautiful skies back. Number 2, crime. Perhaps one of the most attractive reasons for anyone to consider moving to Boise, Idaho is the crime. In fact, Boise is one of the safest communities for its size in all of America, ranking the 9th most safest city in all of Idaho. Not only that, but the reason why is even more impressive is its gun ownership rate is very high. Regardless of the high percentage of firearms here, the neighborhoods are mostly quiet and people have no problem with things like sending their kids alone to school. It has even been said that some homeowners don't even lock their homes or cars, which in my opinion I say you still shouldn't run the risk, but oh well, to each their own. But overall, Boise's crime has not been a problem and should continue not to be one in the future. And finally, number 1, rising home prices. Since a lot of people have found out that Boise is a really nice place to be, as I have mentioned earlier, it's a migration of many outsiders coming to the city of Boise, and the great consequence of this rapid increase is in its home prices. In the last 5 years, the median home value has gone up from $226,500 all the way up to $385,000. That's nearly an 80% increase within the last 5 years, with Boise only getting bigger in population and size because, in case you didn't know, they're building new houses like it were a Lego city. Real estate here will only continue to rise in price. So, at the end, it's all your call. Even with home prices rising, homes are still relatively affordable, but not for long. Will you start a new chapter in Boise, or are you just fine where you are? If you thought Portland, Oregon was the type of place where the homes and rent were affordable, well, better think again. Portland, Oregon's housing is a whopping 79% higher than the national average. And not only that, but the cost of living here is also 17.7% higher than the national average. The main takeaway? You're going to need more than those crumpled up dollar bills in your pocket to call Portland home. Number 9, the outdoors. Nothing's better than being outside in Portland, Oregon, especially during the summer. Portland is home to a lot of stunning landscapes, from mountains to lakes to hills to rivers. I mean, everything here is so green and rich in nature, and it's a major reason why it attracts so many people to move here. Number 8, SAD. This is an acronym standing for Seasonal Affective Disorder. And before you ask, no, this isn't a medical definition. Believe it or not, folks, this is real. Many people inevitably get saddened due to the lack of sunshine in Portland during the winter months. Many people simply prefer sunnier locations, such as Florida, and therefore is something that most people have second thoughts about before actually moving here. Number 7, the walkability. Moving on to a pro, another major reason for residing in Portland, Oregon is how walkable the city is. The reason Portland has this advantage is because it's not just another big city with towering skyscrapers like Chicago, where I'm from, but rather has pleasant and unique neighborhoods throughout the city. This makes it easier to use modes of transportation such as biking, skateboarding, or you can go the way I did and use an electric scooter. They're pretty fun. Number 6, the income tax. Since the state of Oregon does not have any sales tax, the state makes up for it by its income tax. But to our luck, Oregon has the 4th highest income tax in all of America. How high? An income tax of a whopping 9.9%. So for obvious reasons, many people don't like this, but oh well, I guess it's the price you have to pay in exchange for natural scenery. Number 5, the food. I'll tell you this right now, the food here is awesome. Here, you'll find all sorts of cuisine from all over the world, from delicious Chinese to mouth-watering Italian restaurants. Keep in mind that it's very uncommon for people to eat at ordinary chain restaurants, as the thing that sets Portland apart is the many unique small business-owned restaurants that are all over, which really gives Portland an amazing food scene. Number 4, the traffic. You know how I said earlier that I use an electric scooter? Well, with the traffic that awaits you in Portland, you seriously might want to consider one. Portland, Oregon is amongst one of the cities with the worst traffic in all of America. People spend an average 116 hours sitting in traffic annually. And since the city is literally built in the way of a giant river, roads are even more limited. There are a lot of bridges, which certainly don't help. Number 3, the airport. Portland, Oregon has very easy access to its airport, Portland International. Not only that, but it's rated as one of the best airports in America, and it is said when traveling through, you will always get a pleasant experience with everything from departing to arriving. So if you're a person that usually travels a lot, be sure to take advantage of this pro you don't really get with many other cities. Be lucky you don't have to experience 30-minute waits to go from the terminal to the runway like I do in O'Hare. Number 2, the problem. By far the worst issue you will encounter in Portland is the homelessness. With a poverty rate of 4.8% higher than the national average, it's no surprise that Portland has a serious problem with homelessness. The homelessness problem is mainly what's keeping many people from making the final decision to move here. Because, well, nobody wants to live in a community where there is a major issue. But it goes far beyond that. With people in poverty, naturally comes the crime. And let me tell you, violent crimes in Portland are a whopping 35% higher than the national average. So this is as bad as it gets, but lucky for you, there is a pro that, depending on how you look at it, does outweigh this bad con. Finally, number 1, job opportunities. If there's something you're going to take away from this video, make sure it's knowing that Portland has many job opportunities. Big companies like Columbia, Nike, Adidas, Intel, Daimler, and many more are all located within Portland. The average job salary here is around $71,000 per year, which makes Portland's yearly income 13% higher than the national average. If moving to Madison, Wisconsin has ever crossed your mind, or if you've ever just wondered about this city, in this video I will give you the top 10 pros and cons about Madison, Wisconsin. Let's get to it. Number 10, the weather. So let's get the obvious one out of the way. First, it gets really cold here in the winter. We're talking like 10 degrees to the low 30s type of weather. And with the cold, of course, follows the snow. Madison averages some 40 inches of snow per year. But on the bright side, the snow removal teams around the city tend to be pretty good at getting rid of all the snow. So just remember to wear your jacket, start up the remote starter, and you'll be good to go. Number 9, location. One pro you'll find really handy is that since Madison is located almost right in the beginning of Wisconsin, it's relatively close to bigger cities like Milwaukee and Chicago. It's around 1 hour away from Milwaukee and about 2 hours and 30 minutes to get to Chicago. So if by any means you need to make a trip to the big cities, you'll be there and back the same day. Number 8, navigating. Navigating through Madison can be a challenge since the downtown area is on the narrow piece of land, as you can see here. It's more complicated than just following a grid like in other cities. However, after a while, you do get used to this. But just know you are going to need to navigate around the 2 lakes surrounding the city. Number 7, places. Perhaps one of the best pros that makes Madison truly stand out is its places to visit. Madison is home to the Old Brick Botanical Gardens, many museums of all kinds, state parks, and even Henry Villa Zoo, a free zoo for all to enjoy. The main takeaway? It's a city with many activities for the entire family. Number 6, diversity. Depending on how you look at it, this can either be a pro or a con. But regardless of your point of view, you have to know that Madison, Wisconsin is not very ethnically diverse. If you're looking to move to a city with all sorts of cultures and peoples, then Madison is probably not for you. Number 5, schools. The state of Wisconsin is amongst the top 10 states for the best schools in the nation. The Madison Metropolitan School District is one of the B+ rated school districts. Suburbs in Madison, like Middleton, Monona, and Waunakee, have been known to have some of the best schools in the state of Wisconsin. Number 4, the Chicago Rush. The Chicago Rush basically means, as the name suggests, a lot of people are rushing into Madison from Chicago. This means that the population increases, and in population increasing, so do taxes, traffic, and even crime. Number 3, the food scene. 2 words for ya: cheese and beer. When it comes to these 2 things, Madison, heck, the entire state of Wisconsin, doesn't play around. You'll find a plethora of restaurants serving all sorts of delicious dishes and even combinations you've never heard of before. For instance, chocolate cheese. Look it up if you don't believe me. Number 2, taxes. Honestly, the biggest con you'll find in Madison is the property taxes. Dane County has one of the highest property tax rates in all of the state. And if that wasn't enough, Wisconsin ranks as the 10th state with the highest property taxes. And finally, numero uno, the outdoors. Much like Boulder, Colorado, Madison is blessed with beautiful nature. You have easy access to a lot of the woodland, and of course the lakes. Popular activities here include ATVing, hunting, hiking, fishing, and even skiing. In the winter, of course. There's a lot to do thanks to the nature you're surrounded with, and this makes it easily one of the best pros about Madison, Wisconsin. Interested in moving to New York City? If so, this video is made for you. In this video, I go over the top 10 pros and cons about living in New York City. So let's get to it. Number 10, the trash. New York City is riddled with trash. On the sidewalks, the subway stations, I mean almost everywhere you go in the city, you're going to see overflowing trash. But the reason behind this is because the city does not have many alleys. So if you're getting ready to move here, just prepare yourself for the wretched smell of hot trash during the summer. Number 9, walkability. New York ranks as the second most walkable city in all of America, right behind San Francisco. Being so walkable means you won't have to rely on your car for every single trip you take, because most likely you'll be less than 10 minutes away from pretty much whatever you need. Groceries, restaurants, bars, etc. Number 8, the noise. Do you like headphones? Because best believe you're going to need them when you're outside. There's a ton of noise in the city, from passing cars, subways, people. It's a city. What did you expect? So just something to keep in mind if you plan on living in New York. Number 7, a never sleeping city. I'm sure you've heard the saying, New York never sleeps. I'm here to tell you this is true. So if you're the type of person that enjoys the nightlife, ordering food at really late hours of the night, or just going out and having fun at late hours, this is a very good pro that comes with moving to New York City. Number 6, attitude. As I said before, don't forget New York is a large city. In fact, one of the most densely populated cities in the world. That being said, not every single person you meet here will be nice. Some people will have an attitude, and you're bound to encounter some rude people. So, if you don't have a thick skin and are sensitive to being treated in a disrespectful manner, then you won't last long in this city. Number 5, people. One of the great things about living in New York City is the ability to meet new people. Whether you're looking to network or just simply looking to interact with new people, maybe make new friends, New York City is the city just for that. Due to the city's population and density, it gives you great opportunities to really really get out there and find all sorts of individuals. Number 4, the homelessness. New York City takes the cake for being America's city with the most homeless people, beating both Los Angeles and Seattle, Washington. Not only is the homeless situation here bad, but it also attracts crime. While I was in New York City one time in the middle of the street, there was a guy who was highly intoxicated, just shaking in the middle of the street with his shirt off, mumbling weird things under his breath. I remember just staring and watching in disbelief. So if you don't think there is a large problem here in the city, you better think again. Number 3, the food. Personally, this reason is the most exciting one on why you should move to New York. The food here is so good. It's not just your regular $1 pizza or nuts you can get off the street. New York City has food from all over the world, all equally delicious in its own way. But of course, for me personally, what takes the cake is the pizza. Joe's Pizza, located at 1435 Broadway to be exact. Number 2, the cost of living. The ultimate con about living in New York City is the cost of living. You can expect to pay $2,000 to $3,000 a month just for a 1-bedroom apartment. Keep in mind, you're also dealing with more expenses such as groceries or going out to eat. And if most of your paycheck is going towards the rent, you're going to be left with very little money left to work with. And finally, numero uno, local businesses. The unique thing about New York City is all of the small businesses you get. There are more than 500,000 small businesses around the city, and New York is in the top 5 cities with the most small businesses. This is extremely beneficial because you can get whatever you want at a short distance without having to go to some big corporation every time you have to go out. So you're thinking about moving to Houston, and the main questions you probably have are things like, what's the downside? What are the major pros? In this video, I go over the top 10 pros and cons that you have to know when it comes to moving to Houston. So let's get to it. Number 10, the weather. What if I told you the H in Houston doesn't stand for Houston? It stands for heat, humidity, and hot, because that's pretty much the weather over here. Oh, and by the way, Texas actually ranks as the 4th hottest state in all of America. Being outside, especially during the summer months, will leave you with a lot of sweat. And if you, like me, don't really enjoy having to work, drive, or just simply be in clothes that are hot and uncomfortable to wear all day long, best believe this will be a major con you won't like. Number 9, the jobs. A very powerful pro Houston has is its plethora of jobs. Big companies like Walmart, McDonald's, Shell, Kroger, H-E-B, all are in the top 5 when it comes to employing people in Houston. And not only that, but Houston is actually home to the world's largest medical center. So in short, whatever career you're choosing to go into, or whatever job you're looking for, you have a good shot finding it here in Houston. Number 8, taxes. Now, before you go and comment, but there's no state income tax, how is this a con? Let me explain to you that although it is true you don't need to pay income tax in Houston, you are going to need to pay 8.5% sales tax and anywhere from 2 to 4% in property taxes. Number 7, things to do. Again, one of the many pros we have with Houston is there's a lot of things to do. Being the 4th largest city in America, there's everything from museums all the way up to NASA's Space Center. You'll never get bored in this city, and it's really a place for the whole family. Number 6, public transportation. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying there isn't any public transportation, but again, for being America's 4th largest city, it's definitely got some work to do. Compared to cities like Seattle, Boston, and San Francisco, Houston is simply not there yet. Your main public transportation options are the Metro Rail, light rail system, or if you're in the suburbs, park and ride services. Number 5, culture. With the size of Houston, of course, there has to be some sort of culture, and boy, is there. Houston is one of the most ethnically diverse cities in America, and no matter where you're from, you will definitely find your people. Number 4, traffic. This con is a pretty acceptable one. I mean, once again, I repeat, Houston is the 4th largest city in America, and it's pretty much impossible for there not to be some sort of traffic. Construction is also an ongoing thing here, and with Houston's population only getting bigger, more roads need to be built, which of course means construction, and that means long lines of traffic. My suggestion, just work from home if you can. Number 3, homes. If you're going to get anything out of this video, please let it be that homes in Houston are fairly priced. Homes within the city are, for obvious reasons, more expensive than homes in the suburbs. The average home here costs around $310,000, which compared to home prices in Austin and Dallas, they are a bit lower. Number 2, flooding. Now this is a big one. By far one of the worst things that can happen to you when moving to Houston is floods caused by hurricanes. We've all seen in the past the damage that these types of storms can cause, and since Houston is located near the Gulf Coast, it is vulnerable to flooding and overall natural disasters. And finally, number 1, the cost of living. The main reason one decides to move to Houston is because of their affordable cost of living. When you compare Houston to cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, surprisingly, Houston beats them all in terms of overall cost of living. Since Houston has it all, plenty of jobs, nice views, things to do, amazing food, it's no wonder why so many people are flocking to move here. Is Florida really the basement of America? Hot, sticky, and full of insects? Well, in this video, I go over the top 10 pros and cons about Florida and find out if this really is true. Let's get to it. Number 10, the weather. Being one of the handful of states that receive sunshine with temperatures within the 70s and 80s almost all year round, this major pro attracts a lot of people from all over America. Not only that, but Florida is actually known to have some of the best air quality, 12th best to be specific, in all of America. So one thing's for sure, you're going to get to experience a nice tropical setting. Number 9, insects. The insects here are insane. Florida has over 80 known species of mosquitoes, which already is more than any other state. And it's home to the American cockroach and these tiny flying insects called no-see-ums, which leave quite a painful bite. Due to the tropical weather, the state of Florida receives basically on a daily basis its perfect weather for all sorts of insect to roam outdoors and even within your own home. Number 8, things to do. Oh boy, where do we start? You've got Disney World, Universal Studios, Busch Gardens, museums, the Tampa River Walk. I could go on and on, but the point is, Florida's got a lot to do and explore, whether it's by yourself or with the whole family. Again, this is why many people come to the state, even if it's just for vacationing. Now, if you ask me, my favorite thing to do while down here is the fishing. Sure, I don't catch anything, but it's the fun that counts, right? Number 7, transport. In Florida, you are going to need a car. Unlike New York City or other places where things are close by, places in Florida are spread apart. And as you can imagine, there are only so many public transportation options when you have around 75 million people visiting the state each year. Add on top of that a whopping 350,000 moving in. As a result, Florida is one of the top states in America to receive the most amount of fatal car accidents in America. So please drive safely. Number 6, sports culture. If you're a sports nut, and it doesn't matter what type, whether it's football, soccer, basketball, whatever it is, I can almost guarantee you Florida has a team that you ought to root for. The Miami Heat, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Miami Dolphins, the Orlando City Soccer Club, Jacksonville Jaguars, etc. Florida and sports both go together, especially when you also have some good food to accompany while watching the game. Number 5, vulnerability. As we both know, Florida is located in the southeastern part of the United States. This means, just like any other coastal state, it is prone to natural disasters such as hurricanes, floodings, and even tornadoes. Every year, Floridians have to deal with unpleasant, rainy weather that can start up as a regular mild storm and potentially become a hurricane. Number 4, affordable housing. Now we're getting into one of the major pros and cons. One of the biggest pros, and a very big reason why so many people are moving to the Sunshine State, is thanks to the affordable housing. The average median home price of a Florida home is around $334,882. You compare that to the national average, which is $408,800. The nice thing about buying a home in Florida is that over the last year, not only have home values gone up, but depending on the area you make your purchase, you have the beach basically within walking distance. Number 3, crime rate. Being the third most populated state in America, Florida is bound to have some crime. Florida ranks as the state with the 25th highest crime rate, being higher than the national average. For every 100,000 residents, there are 384 incidents. But it's all about choosing where to live. If you really pay attention, you can reside in some very lovely places like Port St. Lucie and Cape Coral, whose crime rates are at least 40% lower than the national average. But just stay alert at all times for the infamous Florida man. Number 2, taxes. Florida takes the cake for coming in at number 8 for the state with the strongest economy. Seeing insane growth and development, there's a lot of employment through the state, and best of all, there's no state income tax. So although, yes, the cost of living is on the high side, you can rest assured you'll have a paycheck here secured. And finally, the long-awaited numero uno, the heat. Before you say it, yes, I have talked about the nice weather and how it gets hot all year round. But heat here is nothing to joke about. You go to the beach, you get a nice tan, but after a short while, it gets to the point where your skin itches and even hurts to touch due to the sunburns you get. The heat here is dangerous, especially since Florida receives humid heat, which just makes summers unbearable. The bottom line, wear a lot of sunscreen and just don't be out for so long. So you're considering moving to Chicago, or perhaps you're wondering, what are the major pros and cons about living in Chicago? In this video, I go over the 5 best and worst things about Chicago, and you can decide if this city is for you. Let's get to it. Number 10, the cold. The cold weather lasts for about 4 months, from December to March. Most people can argue that, well, it's just 4 out of the 12 months. I don't really see how this is a major con. But oh boy, let me tell you, once the cold weather starts to settle in, you can expect temperatures around the low 20s and even colder. And the sensations in the single digits, you're going to have to deal with your car not starting, being careful or risk slipping on the sidewalk, and it's just a very tough season, so definitely keep this con in mind. Number 9, transportation. Chicago is one of those handful of cities that is actually livable without a car, all thanks to its very good public transportation system, which transports nearly 500 million people each year. Around 90% of residents living in Chicago approve of the public transportation here, and to keep things in order, the CTA, or the Chicago Transit Authority, offers many bus and train routes all over the city and even connecting to the suburbs. Number 8, landscape. Chicago's landscape is flat. The highest point you're going to find in the entire state of Illinois is a hill called Charles Mound, which is only some 1,235 feet above sea level. If you're the type of person who enjoys having mountainous terrain nearby, then best believe you might have a hard time adjusting. If you really enjoy doing activities that require climbing or just simply being by the mountains, then maybe you should consider cities like Denver or Boise or any other place. Keep in mind that Chicago is not for nature nuts. Number 7, the economy. Chicago has one of the biggest economies in North America, having over 400 major corporations and even 36 Fortune 500 companies. The neat thing about the economy here is that it is nicely diversified, with no industry employing more than 12% of the workforce. Number 6, parking. Parking in Chicago is a real issue. It's not only hard to find parking, but when you do, you can expect to pay, in some areas, upwards of $6.50 per hour. Also, the average person spends about 17 hours a year looking for parking. But in Chicago, try 56 hours a year. Yeah. Number 5, sports culture. It's simple. If you're a sports fanatic, you're going to love Chicago. Home to the iconic teams like the Chicago Bulls, the White Sox, the Cubs, the Chicago Fire FC, the Bears, the Blackhawks, all with a combined 28 championships won. And by the way, just to let you know, once you move here, you're going to have to decide either the Cubs or the Sox. Number 4, traffic. You're going to hate this one, as it will become part of your daily life here. That is the traffic. Chicago traffic actually ranks as the 3rd worst in the country. People here, on average, spend a whopping 138 hours a year sitting in traffic. And I'm not going to even mention rush hour, which delays you even more, making your trip twice as long or worse. Number 3, the food. Say what you want, but I've tried both New York City pizza and Chicago's, and oh boy, did Chicago's pizza win by a mile. New Yorkers, leave it in the comments. It's not just the pizza. Hot dogs, Italian beef, chicken, seafood. I'll leave you with this. Chicago is ranked as the 2nd best city in America when it comes to the food, so you better believe this is a unique row you won't get in every city. Number 2, the crime. Well, this is as bad as it gets. Crime rates in Chicago are some 3% above the national average, and compared to New York City, Chicago is actually 32% more dangerous. So if you go by facts, yes, crime here is undoubtedly high and a problem. For this reason, a lot of people are actually leaving the city, and it's the quote side effect you get when moving here. Finally, number 1, things to do. Not only is Chicago in the top 5 most beautiful large cities in America, but by far the best pro about the city of Chicago is the amount of things to do. You've got a lot of museums, Millennium Park, the Navy Pier, more restaurants than I can count, Shed Aquarium, Water Tower Mall, etc. Not to mention Chicago's skyline was ranked one of the best skylines in America. I certainly enjoy just taking the view in at night, and overall, I like this city. I think you will too. In this video, I go over the top 10 pros and cons about New Mexico. Whether you're planning on living here or just wondering what the state is like, stick around and I'll show you. Let's get to it. Number 10, crime. Starting off with a major con about the state, the crime. New Mexico ranks as the 2nd state with the highest crime rate out of all 50, having a staggering 3,994 incidents per 100,000 residents, which is more than twice the national average. It's also the state that has the most violent crime rates in the U.S., and its biggest city, Albuquerque, is also not looking too good. 1 out of every 75 people in Albuquerque become victims of some sort of illegal act. So, in short, this is a very bad downside you get when being in the state of New Mexico. Number 9, natural scenery. It is an undeniable fact that New Mexico has some very gorgeous natural scenery. Because of this, it attracts many tourists year-round to take in the views and to visit places such as the White Sands National Park, the hidden underground Carlsbad Caverns National Park, Bandelier National Monument, etc. The point is, you'll never get bored of seeing these unique and beautiful locations. And it is something very special the state has. Number 8, economy. Another big con about the state is its economy. New Mexico is one of the more undeveloped states in the U.S. and faces issues such as poverty, crime, poor healthcare, bad education, among many other things. All of this combined, plus the pandemic, which did even more damage to the economy, ranks New Mexico as the state with the 44th best economy. So yeah, not looking too good. Number 7, the weather. Yes, New Mexico receives a bit of rain and even snow, but year-round, the state receives a whopping 280-plus days of pure sunshine. So if you're the type of person to enjoy the outdoors and love the outside, New Mexico is pretty much like your own personal sunny playground. Who needs Florida, right? Number 6, laid-back lifestyle. This one really depends on how you look at it. It could be a pro for some or a con for others. Regardless of where you stand, New Mexico has a pretty boring and quiet lifestyle. Unlike bigger cities such as New York, Chicago, Las Vegas, or Miami, New Mexico lacks nightlife and it's more of a laid-back state. Although bigger cities like Santa Fe or Las Cruces or Albuquerque do host plenty of festivals, it is still pretty dull year-round and doesn't compare with the other larger cities. Number 5, homes. Perhaps one of the biggest expenses when it comes to moving to another state or just in general is buying a house. But here in New Mexico, the average price for a single-family home is a staggering 15% lower than the national average at around $229,947. And you're not just getting some home in the isolated desert. That would be scary, especially at night. No, you're looking at urban areas. This is definitely a big pro about the state and one that isn't really talked about. Number 4, isolation. Due to the state's location, New Mexico is very isolated, both within the state and out. Cities are also quite spread out. All of this makes New Mexico a very remote state from the rest of the U.S. The closest noticeable city to the state is El Paso, Texas, which is still some 3.5 hours to get there. But if you're looking to reach the genuine bigger cities, well, better fill up on gas and start hitting the road. That's because it's going to be a long 6+ hour drive. Number 3, traffic. We've all experienced traffic, whether it's going in or out of work. You already know it's always there waiting for you and me. Thankfully, here in New Mexico, you can say goodbye to long hours waiting in traffic. Due to the state's population being less than 3 million, and again, the cities being nicely spread out, traffic here is usually not heavy, unless it's rush hour. But even then, it doesn't even come close to traffic in cities like Chicago, Los Angeles, Boston, or New York City. Number 2, bad education. Perhaps one of the biggest cons you're going to encounter in New Mexico is its terrible and weak education system. New Mexico ranks as the state with the worst school system. Not only is it the second worst state with the lowest high school graduation rate at 76%, just behind Arizona, but it is also one of the lowest for math test scores and lowest reading test scores. Worst of all is that the state does spend a fair amount of money to, quote, improve the school system. But I mean, the stats speak for themselves. And finally, the long-awaited number 1, cost of living. By far, the best pro about New Mexico is its cost of living. New Mexico ranks as the 5th state, with the lowest cost of living being some 12% below the national average. This makes it one of the cheapest states to move to in the U.S. Don't forget that New Mexico is also home to affordable houses. See what I did? So, in terms of spending here, you won't be doing much compared to the other states.
Have you been thinking about moving to Las Vegas? Do you need more information before making such an important decision? In this video we'll tell you all about the pros and cons of moving to Las Vegas. Let's begin with the pros. 1. Cost of living. The cost of living in Las Vegas is generally lower than in other major U.S. cities, making it an attractive option for those on a budget. Housing costs are often more affordable than in other metropolitan areas, and there is no state income tax in Nevada. In addition, groceries, healthcare, and other expenses are often cheaper than in other major cities. 2. Weather. Las Vegas has a hot and dry climate, with an average of 310 days of sunshine per year. This makes it a great place for outdoor activities such as hiking, golfing, and swimming. However, summers can be extremely hot, with temperatures often exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit 38 degrees Celsius. It's important to take precautions to avoid heat exhaustion, such as staying hydrated and avoiding strenuous outdoor activity during the hottest parts of the day. 3. Entertainment. Las Vegas is known for its world-class entertainment options, including shows, concerts, and casinos. There are also plenty of bars, nightclubs, and restaurants to choose from. In addition, the city is home to several outdoor attractions, such as the Grand Canyon and Red Rock Canyon, which offer stunning natural scenery and opportunities for outdoor recreation. 4. Job opportunities. Las Vegas has a growing job market, particularly in the hospitality and tourism industries. With its many hotels, casinos, and entertainment venues, there are often plenty of job opportunities available. In addition, the city has a relatively low unemployment rate, which can be attractive for those looking for work. 5. Culture. Las Vegas has a unique culture that blends modern and traditional elements. It's a melting pot of different cultures and is home to a diverse population. Visitors and residents can experience everything from ancient Native American traditions to the latest in technology and innovation. The city is also home to a vibrant arts and music scene, with several annual festivals and events celebrating various cultures. And now we are about to show you the cons of moving to Las Vegas. 1. Weather. Yes. It's both a pro and a con. While Las Vegas is known for its sunny weather, summers can be extremely hot and dry, with temperatures often exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit 38 degrees Celsius. This can make outdoor activities uncomfortable or even dangerous. In addition, the lack of rain can lead to drought conditions, which can impact the local ecosystem and water supply. 2. Traffic. Las Vegas can have heavy traffic, especially on the Strip and during rush hour. This can make commuting frustrating and time-consuming. However, the city has been investing in public transportation options such as buses and light rail, which can help alleviate traffic congestion. 3. Crime. Like any big city, Las Vegas has its fair share of crime. Although it's generally a safe city, visitors and residents should take precautions to avoid becoming victims of crime. This includes being aware of their surroundings, avoiding isolated areas, and not carrying large amounts of cash. 4. Tourism. While tourism is a major industry in Las Vegas, it can also be overwhelming at times, especially for those who prefer a quieter lifestyle. The city is known for its nightlife and entertainment, which can make it noisy and crowded, especially on weekends and holidays. However, there are several quieter residential neighborhoods located outside of the tourist areas. 5. Water scarcity. Las Vegas is located in a desert region and has limited water resources. The city relies heavily on the Colorado River, which is facing increasing demand and decreasing supply due to climate change. This could be a concern for those who prioritize sustainable living, and residents are encouraged to conserve water whenever possible. However, the city has also invested in water recycling and conservation efforts to help address this issue. Overall, moving to Las Vegas can be a great decision for those who are looking for an affordable, sunny city with plenty of entertainment options and job opportunities. However, it's important to consider the potential downsides, such as the weather, traffic, and water scarcity, before making a decision. Atlanta, Georgia, often referred to as the capital of the South, is a vibrant and dynamic city that attracts newcomers with its rich culture, diverse economy, and southern charm. However, like any major urban center, Atlanta comes with its own set of advantages and disadvantages. If you're considering a move to this bustling metropolis, it's essential to understand the pros and cons to make an informed decision about your next chapter. Let's begin with the pros of moving to Atlanta. 1. Thriving job market. Atlanta is a hub for various industries, including technology, finance, healthcare, and entertainment. The city hosts corporate giants like Coca-Cola, Delta Air Lines, and Home Depot, along with numerous startups, offering a range of employment opportunities. 2. Cultural melting pot. The city's diverse population contributes to a rich cultural tapestry. You can experience a wide array of cuisines, music genres, art scenes, and festivals, making Atlanta an exciting place to explore different cultures. 3. Education and research. Atlanta is home to several renowned universities and research institutions, such as Emory University and the Georgia Institute of Technology. This creates a stimulating environment for learning and innovation. 4. Affordable living. Compared to other major U.S. cities, Atlanta offers relatively affordable housing options. The cost of living, including rent and real estate, is more manageable, allowing residents to enjoy a comfortable lifestyle. 5. Mild climate. Atlanta's climate is characterized by mild winters and warm summers, making it an attractive destination for those who prefer a temperate climate. Now let's explore the cons. 1. Traffic congestion. Atlanta is notorious for its traffic congestion, ranking among the cities with the longest average commute times. This can lead to frustration and reduced quality of life for residents who spend significant time in traffic. 2. Lack of public transportation. While efforts have been made to improve public transportation, Atlanta's public transit system is not as extensive or efficient as those in some other major cities, making car ownership a necessity for many. 3. Weather extremes. While the climate is generally mild, Atlanta experiences occasional extremes, including hot and humid summers and the occasional winter ice storm. 4. Urban sprawl. The city's growth has led to urban sprawl and suburban development, resulting in pockets of congestion and a lack of walkability in certain areas. 5. High crime rates. Some neighborhoods in Atlanta experience higher crime rates, which can be a concern for prospective residents. Researching neighborhoods thoroughly is essential to find a safe and suitable area to live. In conclusion, moving to Atlanta offers a mix of exciting opportunities and potential challenges. The city's thriving job market, cultural diversity, and affordable living make it an enticing destination, while traffic congestion, weather extremes, and certain urban issues warrant consideration. Before making a decision, it's crucial to weigh these pros and cons against your personal preferences and priorities. Conducting thorough research, visiting the city, and possibly consulting with current residents can provide valuable insights to help you make the best choice for your new chapter in Atlanta. Boulder, Colorado, is a picturesque city nestled at the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, known for its stunning natural beauty, thriving cultural scene, and a strong commitment to sustainability and outdoor recreation. However, like any place, Boulder comes with its own set of advantages and disadvantages for those considering a move. In this video, we'll explore the pros and cons of living in Boulder, helping you make an informed decision if you're contemplating relocating to this unique city. Let's begin with the pros of moving to Boulder, Colorado. 1. Natural beauty. Boulder boasts some of the most breathtaking natural landscapes in the United States. The city is surrounded by the Rocky Mountains, offering countless opportunities for hiking, rock climbing, and outdoor adventures. The Flatirons, iconic rock formations, are a beloved sight and symbol of Boulder's scenic beauty. 2. Outdoor recreation. If you're an outdoor enthusiast, Boulder is a paradise. From world-class mountain biking to skiing in the nearby resorts, the city offers year-round outdoor activities. The extensive network of trails, parks, and open spaces provides endless options for exploration. 3. Healthy lifestyle. Boulder consistently ranks as one of the healthiest and most active cities in the country. Its residents prioritize physical fitness and wellness, making it an ideal place to adopt a healthy lifestyle. Access to fresh, locally sourced foods and a plethora of fitness studios and yoga centers adds to the appeal. 4. Education. The city is home to the University of Colorado Boulder, a prestigious institution known for its academic excellence. Additionally, the Boulder Valley School District offers high-quality education for K-12 students, making it an attractive destination for families. 5. Cultural vibrancy. Boulder has a thriving cultural scene, with numerous art galleries, theaters, and live music venues. The city hosts a variety of festivals and events throughout the year, ensuring there's always something exciting to experience. Now let's continue with the cons of moving to Boulder, Colorado. 1. High cost of living. Boulder's desirability comes at a price. The cost of living in Boulder is significantly higher than the national average. Housing costs, in particular, can be exorbitant, making it challenging for many to find affordable housing. 2. Competitive job market. While Boulder is known for its thriving tech industry, the job market is highly competitive. Many tech giants and startups are based here, but securing a job can be tough, and salaries may not always match the high living costs. 3. Traffic congestion. Boulder's growing population has led to increased traffic congestion, especially during rush hours. Limited public transportation options mean that commuting can be a hassle for those living in surrounding areas. 4. Harsh winters. While Boulder offers plenty of outdoor activities, its winters can be harsh, with cold temperatures and snowfall. If you're not a fan of winter sports and cold weather, this may not be the place for you. 5. Limited diversity. Boulder has been criticized for its lack of diversity, both in terms of ethnicity and socioeconomic status. While the city is actively working on becoming more inclusive, it may not be a comfortable fit for everyone. Boulder, Colorado, is undoubtedly a remarkable place with its stunning landscapes, healthy lifestyle, and cultural richness. However, it's not without its drawbacks, including a high cost of living and competitive job market. When considering a move to Boulder, it's crucial to weigh the pros and cons against your personal priorities and preferences. If the natural beauty and outdoor activities align with your interests, and you can navigate the financial challenges, Boulder could be the perfect place for you to call home. If you don't want to miss any of our videos, like the video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and good luck on your free land journey.